Well, hi there. I just wanted to introduce this video. Uh, I wanted to go to Sedona, Arizona, and I wanted to meet up with the three goddesses. These are people who ran goddess temples in San Diego and Phoenix and Waterford, Michigan. That was the plan. And this is the meeting when we finally met up with Tracy Elise, who used to run the goddess temple in Phoenix, and she happened to be in Sedona. And so I brought with me Debra Dawn, who used to run the goddess temple there in Waterford, Michigan. Um, the third goddess, her mother had just passed on, very sad, so she wasn't able to make it. But anyway, this is, I had never met Tracy Elise. Of course, I'd read about her and that, and she's more of a friend with Debra Dawn. So we just talked about this, and I know that the relevance here is that there is a little bit of a, I I always talk about Meg Myers because I just think there's so much. There's so many things to say about her, and amazing musician. She was able to overcome the issues with autism. She's able to. I'm just really impressed with the being. She's also my favorite musician. So I know we do mention it a little bit in there, but this was just anywhere I go, I'm probably going to mention Meg at some point. So anyway, without further ado, this is the little talk that we had with Tracy Elise and Deborah Dawn, and it was over Thanksgiving, and I was staying at an Airbnb, and so here goes. I was just thinking if I had oh, I mean, it's good to know what you want. The whole thing is I always surround myself with. Now I know a lot of men are intimidated by strong women, but I've always felt that I'm not intimidated. Maybe that's because I'm also have Asperger's syndrome, so it's this form of autism, right? So with that, with that.
I'm on the spectrum too.
Oh, all right.
But
Fist bump or what?
Yeah, fist bump. Yeah, but wow. I
Well,
forget
I'm kind of
Asperger's.
wondering if you have it actually, because that's why I want you to meet him, because I want you two to meet, because you might be one of the people. Remember, I am a supporter of the Asperger's army, because somebody said, a wise person said, Asperger's will save the world. So
Wow.
it's like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there you go.
All right. We have to have
Okay, there you go.
Okay. So anyway, so my thinking is that I mean, first of all, it's kind of interesting how through weird coincidences, I mean, Deborah seemed to be just such a. I just had to meet her, when I just read things about her or whatever, and I just had to meet her. So now it's great that she knows that I appreciate her and love her. We've gone on trips together in the past. The other interesting thing is I also met Candace, who I guess you've been talking to on Facebook. Candace DeWolf. Candace, she has a few different names. Candace Devonetrix. Candace, the real name is of course DeWolf, and then we have she was Elise Mystique. She used to run the Goddess Temple in San Diego, California.
And remember the Frolic?
Yes.
Frolic?
Oh, yes. The House of Frolic, or it's the of Frolic. It was the
She's gone through a lot of trauma.
Okay, yeah. And of course she went blind, and I mean I met her.
In the last
I met her before she went blind. I don't know if
5 years, isn't it? Then?
well, she was like 2017 or like 16, 17, I think, when she went blind, and I was shocking because I met her in 2015. And of course, she was the most fun person. I went to a HI event. You're familiar with HI, right? HI, Human Awareness Institute. Oh, okay.
Yes,
so,
but it's been many years.
Oh, sure.
Many years. Like yes.
So I met her there, and she was
the
just the.
founder of HI died. He just told me the other day. I guess the
Well,
founder died, and with it, actually, a
well,
lot of their,
I think the people who run it are more just about like who inherited it. it's a way to make money, as opposed to the founder he was just driven. I mean, it's not the best way to make money having this Human Awareness Institute thing, but I think his like a second wife or something inherited some of it, through, I don't know if she has the vision of the founder. That's the issue. So getting back to Candace, she was one of the most fun people when I met her, okay? But she has gone through a heck of a lot of trauma. I mean, if you think about when she was like a teenager, it was 420 day, April 20th, and she was smoking some pot, and she got stuck on some railroad tracks, and a train was coming, and she almost got hit by the train. But her friend Steve saved her and got her out of the nick of time. But he died because he was run over by the train, saving Candace's life. And it has really been.
Oh my.
I mean, it is, and every once in a while, if you go on YouTube, you can find her videos right around April 20th. It's always the anniversary. She has letters that he wrote and poems and things, and she's so attached, and she feels so badly about this. And then, I mean, the other thing is I mean, she was into prostitution and she got into heroin. It's amazing this woman is alive. But she also idolizes you. She idolizes you in a way, and you having a successful temple, and she was successful in San Diego.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
She's so fun. She's like slender with like a dark blonde hair.
Sure.
And a very quirky.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Well, we quirky people love each other, right?
Well, I'm quirky.
Yeah.
She's quirky. I like her. She's a very. I do enjoy her stuff when it comes up.
Sure. And she just lost her mother. She lost her mother, and so I'm going to be going there and helping clean her mom's house. Right after I'm done here, I'm going to go off to New Hampshire and help her clean.
Sweet.
And she has a boyfriend now, and we're going to do that together. Of course, he walks with a cane, so maybe I can be helpful there. So that's the thing. So I actually, despite the fact...
It's interesting, that's the same word that you use, is quirky, to define yourself.
I mean...
So
I think quirky's good.
I think quirky's awesome.
It means you're different in a non-threatening way.
Mm-hmm.
You're different in a way that makes the person lean in and go, what?
Mm.
So I think that's very, very good to be
quirky. I mean, so I do look out for, I mean, I have such a soft spot, and I feel that most people are very boring. I mean, you probably know that too. Most people are just boring, and so
we were just talking in the car.
I mean, so I look out for people who are.
I didn't know what he was going to say. I never knew honestly what he was going to say.
I mean, I look out. Okay, so I live this life in a way like very bored, because I have to live a life with most people who are like an empty suit.
I should be recording you.
Okay, well, if you want to, go ahead. So.
No, you didn't set my phone up.
All right. Is it okay? Do you want me to? Is it okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, all I said to Debra is please don't release it until we talk about it. Just if we release it to the world, I'd like to talk about it.
We'll talk about it first.
Be in agreement if we're going to do that.
The thing is my story right now. This is my story, and so I'm okay with. So I don't want you to put you on the spot.
Okay, all right. Yes, if we're an audience for your recording, I love it. I'm happy to do it. Yes. If it's about you telling the story,
I want you to open this.
I'm all for it.
Okay. I did buy that for you.
Oh, I'm all for being a witness.
Okay.
Doing divine witness for whatever you're up to.
I think you're gonna like this.
So I love getting inspiration from real people. It's lovely.
So.
Oh, and I love all the blue and the gold is some of my very favorite colors. What an unexpected surprise. I don't think I've unwrapped anything for a while. Maybe it's a scarf?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Oh, look, it even... Oh, I love it. I was going to say, it even kind of matches what I'm wearing.
There's this place that has all these artists, and so it's actually, they have these artists. This was one wall.
Oh, I love it.
It looks so high priestess-like.
I love it. It's my colors. Indigo is my main priestess color. Yeah, thank you.
Well,
this is really lovely. I have to get over here and see the colors a little bit.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, look, it's got the other priestess color. So in my thing, Mystic Sisters, there are 8 possible colors. And the 2 that is the colors of the sisterhood is indigo blue and the fuchsia magenta color. Which is exactly what the
Cool.
scarf
I
is.
loved that about it. Yay! And
All
look
right.
at it, and then it has a gold
That's so
edge on it because you're
and
golden.
And oh, lovely. Oh, it's beautiful. Those
I
literally
just
are
thought
the
it was
colors of the.
Well,
These are the colors of the Mystic Sisters. Bravo!
there was a well, they had all these artists selling their
I
stuff.
love
so
this.
in
This
fact,
is
the artists.
absolutely perfect.
That was at the right across the
Oh
street.
my God!
on
These
Sedona.
are my colors.
Oh.
These are my priestess
Yay.
colors.
Well, that's
Thank
you'll
you.
enjoy it, and
These are my priestess colors. I'm
And
so
then
very
where's
happy
this
about
in
it.
here? This is it.
Oh, thank you. I feel very happy about
I don't know because it still has a tag on it. I guess
my vestiments.
Yes, it is your vestment. I
My
said to him
priestess
that this is perfect because it's like a priestess, you know, like a you know, they're wearing for.
No, I also bought
Mary,
Debra
but
something,
you picked
but I got.
that color because we
I did.
started.
Oh
with
my
like
goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh. Dear Priestess Tracy, aw. Much thanks from the Sacred Soul Collective of the said Gemini, lemon. What is that?
Oh, let's see. Can I read it? I mean, I'll have to
Yes,
turn it,
please.
like,
You read it. You read it.
do you mind if I turn this on, or I don't know?
That's
I just
beautiful.
thought
Okay,
myself,
I'll just
why
read
I
this.
haven't even. Oh, I
Okay.
came to that.
Dear priest Tracy, much
Priestess.
no, I thought I said priestess Tracy, much thanks from the Sacred Soul Collective of the Soul
Of the
Sacred Feminine.
That's
My love
so
always.
sweet.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving.
Debra Dawn. Okay, that's so cool.
Oh.
Wait, there's something. Oh, and this is
Oh yeah, that's.
I think it's a magnet.
Refrigerator magnet.
Sedona magnet.
Oh, and it's got four
It has
people
four
holding hands.
people
I
on
love
the front.
it.
I honestly told Roger that I was
Yes,
going
I
to
would-
rip it off your card because I wanted to. But I thought that was really cool.
They're very cool. Oh, I'm into having the magnet. Yeah,
Okay.
putting that on
And
something
then there's your.
metal.
I don't know if we're in it. Okay.
Oh, and this is for me. Thank you. That's so.
Wherever that is.
That's so sweet. And
It's like, you know,
and
maybe that's
helpful.
all of us, right?
at a crazy time in LA, I didn't. We had to rent a space to work, and our ads kept not going up, and we kept having all this weird stuff. So the ads were only up for a tiny portion of it, and but thankfully I had people coming back that had seen me before. But it took me it was like an 8-day trip, and it took me like 4 days to pay for the, to pay for the B&B. I'm used to not having to go rent something. I'm used to just, my son Benjamin is a massage therapist and a tantrist as well. And he had a transformation chamber at his apartment in Woodland Hills. So there was always a place to practice, And
It was really cool too.
it was nice, yeah.
Those colors.
Yeah, yeah.
Well-
So let's do your story. We kind of got
Okay.
sidetracked
All right,
by
well,
this beautiful
So
tribute, which is such a cool word. Thank you. I'll take that to heart.
so
Tribute with a T.
I mean, I guess so I feel like there's a couple of things like okay, so Meg Myers created this song like My Mirror. So even though her songs were mostly dark, like on her third album, her fourth album seemed like she was like reaching out, like she wants to find her mirror, somebody who she can. I mean, and it seems as though like okay. Most of the people probably are fans that so to weed that out, it would be more because she has these spirit guides that help her write her music, as she says. I mean, it would seem as though, like, what she really needs is to filter and get a few, like, people who also believe in the goddess movement, maybe some autistic people. I guess you fit the bill for both of those. I fit the bill for somebody who's supportive of people in the goddess movement. I mean, I love Candace. I mean, when I found out that Candace went blind, I mean, I was thinking, oh, I'm sure all your friends came over and did everything to help, and they weren't there. And it's like so I immediately
Wow.
sent like a microwave oven that you can talk to, and I wanted to get her a nice Alexa speaker, but I got her the Bose speaker because I want to have something nice. You went blind, you think that people should help out. So then I realized she didn't have anybody help her out with it. So I flew out and spent 2 weeks with her, and it was a great 2 weeks. And it's like
Help get some systems in place.
and so I mean, and the thing is that I mean, I had so much fun at the high event, and she really made it a fun time. And I feel that like people forget like I worry that people go to these things and it was a fun weekend and they don't really have that connection. They're not really truly love the people.
Do you feel that
that they
way
meet.
about where you've been in your path the last, 5 or 4 years?
If I do or don't feel
Sometimes.
connection, what?
Oh, do people still like in my case? I was concerned that Candace, that people sort of forgot about her. Now that she's blind, like everybody's so loving. Oh, this is a loving thing, and she has all this tribe of people, and then she goes blind, and then her tribe sort of dwindles out.
Disappears.
Nobody wants to be around the person who's blind. So the thing
Yeah.
is that I mean, if you, but of course she
Oh,
knows her
about
real
me
friends.
and the tribe.
Well, I don't want to get well.
Yeah,
You,
yeah,
you,
yeah.
you know who your real friends are.
Yeah.
That's the point. You know who your real friends are.
Well,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah, you do.
there is
Do
an
it, yeah.
interesting. I have been through loss and insurrection. I was in a schism in the church in Seattle, which
Mhm.
was huge and painful. Like literally, we thought we were all heading in one direction, and then come to find out, it wasn't. There was an actual schism over doctrine and values and things like that. So I've been through a lot of those kinds of things.
So you
I-
started out of the gate in the crossing capital there.
yeah.
Isn't that one of the most liberal towns for the different
Yeah.
beliefs?
I think so. Yeah, the Women of Wisdom
Is that how
Council
you-
meets there.
Made it back because Tracy's actually from Fairbanks.
I would just say that about the tribe. So when I was a little girl, and I can barely remember that many things, but there was this story of the chicken who wanted to bake bread, and she has the hen has the grain, and she's like, who wants to help me plant the grain?
Oh, I remember that story. Sure.
Right, and then like every stage of the way, she asks people to help her, and nobody wants to help. But then when the smell is wafting through the air, and the bread is coming out of the oven, everybody wants some bread. And I remember as a child, like being really young and pondering the meaning of that, and then what I came to understand about leadership in general is often thankless, and meaning it's not meant to be something that you're there to serve others. And so like if you can't be of service, then you're not leading, and if you are being of service, you are leading. And I know because of the invitations I get in my emails and phone and direct DMs, direct messaging and stuff. I have had people ask me to be on podcasts, come out and teach, give a speech, things like that. And for the first 2 years, 3 years? 3 years, I don't know. Yeah, the first 3 years? Oh, that couldn't have been that long. Yes, it was. I was on probation for 3 years.
Mhm.
So I didn't say
Yeah,
yes.
like just recently.
I didn't say yes to anything.
Mhm.
I didn't do social media really, which I still don't. But like I just sat back because, and honestly, I didn't pursue. I was under a court order not to talk to anyone.
You see, these things are so wrong when you think about it with the foundation of this country.
So the community was definitely scattered. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. So what I think is that the community would love to see me and others rise and take a stand for this one more time, and where we're at with it. People assume that everything that I was involved in is like over and dead, but it's not. Like we have two legal pathways forward. One is, a direct challenge to the verdict and to get the religion recognized. The other one is class action lawsuit for damages, for malicious and selective prosecution, abuse of the power of office for personal gain, conspiracy to deprive a minority of their constitutional rights.
It's a big case like that, and you're going to love reading about him. Jacob Chansley, who's running for office in the 8th Congressional District of Arizona. He's the known as the QAnon shaman. He even the January. Yes. So the thing is he's running for office. I think that's going to be amazing because he actually, if you follow what he did, I mean, the police let him in because he was going to say a prayer for the police. In fact, there's video of him making a prayer for the police, and his idea of like he was so.
We would see him.
He was so yeah. It would be fun to see him. I mean, he is somebody who went to and sat in that jail and is the face of the insurrection when really he was just helping. He was trying to he said a prayer and he was telling people, hey, go home, and he was trying to break things up from inside. He was trying to be a peacekeeper and get everybody to stop, but just because of the way he looked. He just this is the face of an insurrection, but he was really trying to make peace. And there's a great interview now. Who did the interview? We watched it.
I want to insert this a minute because you'll love this, and that is that one of the things that he said I thought was really very applicable to you and me, and that is he said that he basically identifies himself as a shaman, and he said that he came out of the woods being a shaman because things are like fucked up, and he's pissed off, and everybody's screwed up. He didn't come out to necessarily have some insurrection or be used like they did with him, when he literally puppeted him right into this place where now he's
my astrologer friend Steele,
and I thought it was
God has rest his soul. He talked about people who get used deeply by spirit. And he said kind of like what happened to me and because you say it happened to me, but like the level at which you say yes to be used for the cause of unconditional love or whatever, to that extent, that's who's available. And at some level, he was available to go through it and tell the story of it and be wrongly accused and did he go? I know he went to jail.
He did go to jail, but actually what ended up happening is there was evidence that the police were like escorting him around and stuff, and so
he was in jail and if not prison. He didn't go to prison.
He might have gone to prison. The thing is he did have to plead guilty, and the thing is it was kind of funny actually. This CNN guy was trying to get him to just try to dig him, and he was like saying because he did tell the judge that he was sorry for what he did, and the thing is that this guy wanted him to be like kissing his ass about it. It seemed to this reporter from CNN, and he said, "Well, no, I shouldn't have done that." And he said, and he says, "Well, I shouldn't have been there." But and then when he was really grilling him, and he said, "But there's a lot of people in the House of Representatives that shouldn't be in there anyway, too." Kind of a funny comeback to it. And I just feel that you can see examples. I mean, he's a good example of how the justice system can selectively pick on someone just because he looks like he looks different. So he looks like this. He doesn't look like anybody else. He's dressed in with a shaman headdress and red, white, and blue face paint, and people just like to see up this boogeyman. And I kind of feel in some ways that if you're different in any way, you're doing something different. There's all this. Everybody should just be exactly. Nobody should be stepping out of line, and that's not what this country was started out by. These creative people started this country, creative people, and I mean I'm not willing to so because I have the Asperger's myself to say all these but there are a lot of great inventions that were created. I mean, if you look at Thomas Edison, he probably would have had Asperger's. If you look at what things about him, kind of, and Albert Einstein, and of course Elon Musk has outed himself. So a lot of creative people have Asperger's, and it's so there's a lot of creative people, and including, this is great to know, I mean, including Meg Myers also has Asperger's, and of course she's this famous singer, and of course it's not something that like it's presented on the covers of her album. Look at this. It's amazing how she was able to, and she's extra creative. She paints, you know, she writes her own music. She loves songwriting. In fact, okay, I gotta. All right, that's not announced yet to the public, so okay, yes.
And that is, you know what we're doing is we are totally entering in to the age of mental illness and identifying mental illness, because we're really just starting to brace the common things: narcissism, sociopath, psychopath. Now we have
Asperger's. See, I like to think of it as a
autism,
difference, not so much as necessarily.
Well, all these differences are part of behaviors that, if,
sure,
according to the thing we saw when we were studying it, if you have a certain, I'm just saying that I believe that we're moving in, listening to you and seeing everything. Everybody, what 50% of people are going to be mentally ill by. So they're going to be 50% of people in those categories. Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that this is the part that I normally don't talk about. I guess it would be interesting. So I got involved with someone, and she claimed to be autistic. As it turns out, when this extreme fear of abandonment, that's how it was described. That she has this extreme fear of abandonment. So
brain injury.
In reality, that's borderline personality disorder. It's a very serious mental illness. In fact, psychologists are only allowed to have maybe two. They're not ever supposed to have more than 3, but encouraged not to have more than 2. It's so much to deal with for them. And the thing is that in this case, we're talking about someone who had, she ran over the father of her third child over with a car. Oh. And he had a permanent brain injury. I mean, the thing is that she then, even after that, she had him arrested for probably not a real thing, but she framed him for a crime, and then you find out that the father of her first husband, she did the same thing. She framed him for a crime, and it's even more twisted in that. Okay, so I'll try to make it. I'll try to talk slow so you can understand this, because this is a little confusing. So she ended up getting pregnant by a same-sex couple, 2 men. Okay, but obviously one was the father. Okay, so then
were they both bi men?
I never met them, so I mean I'm guessing that at least one of them must have been bi, right? To father the child, right? So that's kind of the thing. And so then. When she left the Netherlands, of course, in taking the baby with her, there was a big hole in her heart. Not in a minor anymore, but there's a hole in their heart for this boy that they had. So she ended up getting pregnant by some Indian guy. Probably never even knew that he was a father. And then she sold that girl to the people in the Netherlands. No, you're shocked selling. Well, she gets a payment every month in her Great Lakes credit account for the sale of this baby. And then the thing is that here's the thing. Now they have this girl. Now, wow. Of course, now, they really wanted a boy. So she ends up getting pregnant by this guy, another bi guy, and he said, "Oh, really? I could be a father? Oh, I never thought about this." Now, her original thing was to say, okay, if you want a baby so much, you have to agree to pay for everything. You have to, and she didn't expect him to really go along with that. No, I will pay for everything. And so that's not what she expected, because she expected to sell this baby. Then the thing is then it got to, so I mean, I knew a little bit because I got involved with her at the time, and then I know that she had one thing. She had grown his hair really long, so it could be passed as a girl. She had me buy her a burqa, so her idea was to disguise herself as someone else with this burqa with a different ID, and maybe use somebody else's, but her picture, because she could. How can you know what somebody looks like under a burqa? And I have the right to wear my burqa, right? And of course she uses somebody else's ID and then smuggle in the boy as a girl, and then nobody would ever. Well, no, it was a girl that came in. Couldn't have been this one. Of course, the boy's name is the Dutch spelling. We're selling it to a Dutch couple. So some tells is why would a German guy have a Dutch first name? It was purposely to sell him. Okay, so I got involved with her, and of course it was silly, but she was so different and so interesting, and so I mean, and at first, there was the difference. Second, I mean, I felt there was a little danger at some point, but I got kind of used to her, and then. As it turns out, her next plan was to get pregnant by me and then sell that baby. And so she had to then frame me. She had to frame me so I could go to prison so that she could have this baby and deliver it in the Netherlands. And when that was going on, that's like when I read your case, and I remember, I know that woman. That's the I was reading the USA Today, and I remember that was Debra's friend. And
so that's your falsely accused.
Well, it gets, there is so much stuff with like it at some point it seemed as though, like, okay, so somehow she was able to get away with these crimes, and I sort of suspected at some point now is that how could you? I think she knows somebody who knows a prosecutor, so knows the system. So my guess is that perhaps like if she's trying to work the Illinois system, that maybe she has a friend of a prosecutor in like Rockford, Illinois, or something where she knows how the system works in order to get me framed. And so I mean, the thing is there's, as much as people could say, aha, well, how do we know you didn't do the, I mean, if I could, I mean, I have all of the proof to prove that I have not committed a crime. And in so much of this is that I have two daughters and a son, and they know, like, it would have been impossible for me to have committed this. So my family doesn't treat me at all as if I've committed a crime, because of course they know.
In my circle, I have a circle of people who don't treat me as if I've committed a crime.
Right. So people who know. So I mean, in some ways, I know that being, it was you going through the same thing at the same time I was. So that was a thing. And so I'm trying to just think of, though, I mean, ultimately it'd be nice to fix the system, and that's one thing it would be nice to be able to do. It gets to be to a point where, I mean, people who are really connected can have you killed. So the thing is there were 3 different times where, I mean, this person, and I'm trying to not have it focus on that person. Okay, what we want to do is fix the problem, not focus on a person. But the thing is that she said that she knows how to make me disappear. She can make me disappear. And the thing is, what seems suspicious is everyone else, they go to this Northern Correctional Center where they decide what prison you're going to go to. They're there for maybe a few days, 3-4 days, maybe the most 2 weeks. I'm there for months. And where do they send me? They send me to the prison where everybody gets, it seems, what I can tell is that within any system, if the government wants to make somebody killed, and they know where to send them. I mean, I believe that's where the Jeffrey Epstein thing, they knew that system, they knew how to, my point is that there was a murder attempt. The people who tried to murder me are now serving time in prison for that, because even though there were several people who were that were killed in prison, there was one case, Larry Irvin, where they just couldn't hide it. I mean, it's so obvious. And the thing is that Larry Irvin was killed after me. He had 11 broken ribs. I had 4. And the thing
Oh
is
my
these
God.
same officers did that to him that did it to me. And so,
So it was happening from the guards, not from inmates.
right.
Oh, wow.
So, but anyway, my biggest
What a
thing is
story,
to,
wow.
with you though,
Wow.
is I'm thinking is the idea of the goddess. I mean, we've created some websites that we haven't really done much with I think goddessguardian.com and things like that. So the idea is to have a little, maybe a network of support. Like, you know, where does Candace turn to for support? I mean, she is really wanted. I mean, she wanted to be part of this too, and she wanted to be included in the conversation. And I mean, at some point, maybe, you know, I mean, she just really idolizes you in some
Aw.
ways. And so, I mean, she was. I know it's late for her though. She doesn't stay up this late. That's the problem for her. So, but
Well, we can make it happen. You know,
it would make her day if just you know, if we talk to her. And the interesting thing is, other people that I know, I have a friend Julie who just wishes that Candace would talk to her once, and it's difficult even to get to Candace. I mean, in some ways, Candace has walls around her, and it's difficult to get a hold of her. Really, I mean, she may outwardly sound like it's easy to get a hold of her, but it's usually kind of. I mean, she'll be so excited to hear from you, and then the other thing is, I think that this Meg Myers, this singer. I mean, I really think I mean, she's famous, and she doesn't care about fame anymore. She's proven it. I think in some ways she had. I mean, she's mentioned in times that she had like low self-esteem at times and things, but now I think she knows now she could be as famous as she wants to be, and she's actually outwardly said that the music industry is very corrupt, and she wants to do something new, and so
I'm gonna put her in Meg Myers.
Meg Myers. And the interesting thing is, now this is what's even most shocking is you would think that if you're a famous, you'd want to really protect your image to keep for the masses. She has this Patreon account, and I'll definitely think it's well worth for $10 you can participate in her monthly chit chat. And I mean, I mean, I can't wait for December 3rd, I think it is, her next chat, to go on patreon.com, and you know, and Meg Myers, and when she has her
Let me go ahead and subscribe and.
to her Patreon.
Well, right now I'm just gonna put her in my playlist here,
Okay.
so that I remember to check her out. Okay. Very good.
Well, anyway,
I had to do that because otherwise I would forget what you said.
no, it's okay. No, I just
So I'm like, since we're into it, let's do it. I'll put it in my phone, and I will. Now I know. Meg Myers.
And think about those. So imagine if you're a big rock star, and she does acoustic stuff and everything else, but like most of her fans, you'd think would be fans of her music. So I'm just thinking we need to have people, since she believes her spirit guides are talking to her, and she believes that Goddess Gaia gives her the lyrics to her songs and things like that. And it seems like she goes back and forth between, like, she knows if she uses dark energy, she gets like bigger hits, and she sort of knows that and tempted to do that. And like her 4th album was much more of a crying out for help album. Her 3rd album was very dark. It almost seemed like, I mean, I played it for somebody, and it's like, what do you think? Who is this the perspective of? And people will generally say, it sounds like a demon talking. And it's like, and that we'll talk about the song Done. It's from her darkest album, which is Take Me to the Disco. And it's very dark. And then I don't know. There's
you
other
don't
people.
think she's a demon talking?
Well, there are people who who have online with her music will say those are demons talking there, you know. And it's I mean, especially things on her 3rd album, and or you could think of the album, if you think of the song Monster, where she's talking like she's a fucking monster. It sounds like somebody with borderline personality disorder, somebody from borderline personality disorder is talking. So there are people with borderline personality. First of all, it was another thing I was curious. Do people with borderline personalities think? And sure enough, there are people who say, "Oh yeah, Mike Myers songs I always relate to those." And so, first of all, some of her fans are people who have borderline personality disorder that I can totally relate to feeling like a fucking monster so
Wow.
I don't know if she actually has borderline personality disorder or maybe she has tendencies. I mean, she seems to have like she's mentioned a lot of anger and rage, which doesn't usually post her being. I mean, I've seen her when frustrated with songwriting, and it seemed like she was genuine, like really upset, and then she playfully pretended, like it was playful. But anyway, I have a special place in my heart for Meg Myers, I think, because we're part of that autistic tribe, but also because she's quite interesting. She's very focused, super focused with her writing and her songwriting, and also the biggest thing. Now I haven't mentioned this. The biggest thing is when she sings, she goes through the emotion when she wrote that song, and so she doesn't just do that one time and then how did I show emotion at my last concert? I'll just pretend to do that. No, it seems like she goes from the inside and draws upon that anger or that rage and so I was wondering, oh my, can she even survive this, doing over and over this concert, reliving those? And she has talked about maybe not doing her old songs so much anymore. Maybe it does take a lot out of her.
I'm sure.
And so
you're running it through your body, so I'm sure it's,
well, anyway,
painful.
I'm just thinking is that if we had this alliance, a little more organization of goddesses, and I mean, she's definitely could be a voice for the goddesses. I mean, if you think about, being this, famous singer and that, but then I actually, it's not so. I mean, although I liked her music, I really, really have learned to love her. Because it's interesting is on her Patreon account, she'll post lots of videos. She'll be in bed thinking about things and talking, and you can just hear what she has to say. And I find that, me and Debra were playing it in the stargazing room that we had, and we were, there's that stargazing bubble. I don't know if we probably didn't show it to you, because
Yeah,
it's too cold to go up there. I thought it'd be fun for you to stargaze in there. But
We should just go up there for a little bit.
Well, just to see it, I guess.
Before she goes.
Could be a fun place to go in the summertime.
I have my coat on, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
So we should go up there. I'm making us a tea. We can take it with us. We just
Nice.
Oh yes.
So one thing I was just hoping that your biggest focus was like you'd be on board with the helping the goddesses out thing.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lady, if you open up something called the Divine Feminine app,
Okay.
I'll show you on my phone because I have it. So, this lady is wanting to connect all the goddess, witchy, pagan, cosmic women.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can find her.
Well, of course, I fell in love with Debra.
Is that the 1,000 women or the
Yeah.
thing that the connection, like October 21, we all
Yeah.
hold hands or?
Well, the last thing they did was October, I want to say 21 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the.
There's a Tibetan Buddhist prophecy that says when 1,000 Taras appear all over the world and have compassion for the earth, that earth will be released into a higher, released from the grief, released from separation. And so this lady that built the Divine Feminine app, she's like, what you do is you go on here and you, if you have either a physical or a online anything to do, with the goddess.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm just saying, like, I mean, rather than reinventing the wheel.
Well, no, I'd be glad to get. I would love to have that.
This is, but she would, or do something. I mean, we are a bit feisty, so we're not like most goddess women. Like, if you're standing up for sacred sexuality, for example, you're in a minority because, you know.
So her work is more with
Well, Candace has been doing the sacred sexuality stuff, but
In fact, no, I should. It sounds like I mean I can't say without bragging, so I just shut up. I guess. I mean, you could see her #1 video.
sure, I want you. Click it out.
I am a little bit familiar in that. I think I am in it.
Well, you're in it.
I'm trying to explain is that I really do love Candace, and the thing is that it's really easy to see.
I'm looking at a video of Meg Myers' Desire. That's her #1.
I think it is her #1.
Yeah, it looks like it. 37 million views. That's quite a bit. 37 million views. Let's face it, that's a lot.
Well, I mean, it's good to have a combination of. I mean, if I were to say, okay, we're gonna watch it. Okay, cool.
She's a very young woman.
I think now she is about 37 or 38. Now, I mean, this is she's been doing this for, you know, she's been doing this for like 10, 11 years, something like that.
So we can have it a second night and take the music up there and show Tracy the sun gazing. I'll get my get
It's a little dark, huh?
Mm-hmm.
My goodness. Woo! She's very intense. Wow.
Oh, and you should see her in concert. She's like so intense. It just.
So you've seen her in concert?
I've seen her concerts. Of course, we're going to see her in concert.
Yes, when was that?
We're going to see her.
I mean, when did you see her?
I didn't see her in concert. I've
Okay,
just seen
right.
footage of her concerts.
Oh, she's kind of dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
The dangerous woman.
That's a good way to describe her. That would describe your new woman, probably. Huh? Your life is dangerous.
Well, okay, but now look at and you're going to Patreon account. You're going to Patreon account, and she's, I mean, she's a real person who has, but it's interesting. Okay, so when she talks about her spirit guides, every once in a while, she kind of admits that she goes to a dark side, and so. Like, does that mean that there are dark spirits that sometimes talk to her too? I mean, it sounds like it could be, and she kind of knows that if she goes to the dark spirits, she can have a big hit on her hands. It seems, and yet she seems like she's going to start doing acoustic stuff. And actually, it looks like she's trying to get away from recording and doing something else. And actually, I now know, but of course, I promise not to tell anybody. So of course, the thing is, I'll respect that, but anyway, we're still going to see her concert in January. What are the dates when I'm going again?
I think it's 19.
I'm going to 3 of her concerts in a row. She's looking to go with me to 2 of them.
Midwest, I think.
Milwaukee, I'm going to go to. Then we'll both go to Chicago with my friend Zoe. And then you'll go to St. Louis is the 3rd one. I mean, we're missing her Ohio concert, but but she tours all over the country, and I just we'll see. But each album is also different. I mean, their 4th one seems to be
She's part of a band.
Well, it is just basically her. So the other musicians. There's a guy who plays the cello who's oftentimes that was in a lot of the concerts. I've seen in Chicago there was this other really talented guitar player. So it seems like she has different people with her at different concerts. So it's her, and she is very talented. I mean, she can play. I mean, when she was a teenager, she played the bass in her brother's band, and it's kind of fun to see some. She's posted some of her old stuff when she was like 17, playing. So she played the bass, but she can also play the harp. She can play the piano. She can play the ukulele. I mean, she can play. She's pretty talented in piano. I mean, and it's just pretty effortless. And she does her own writing the songs. She does their own lyrics. I mean, if you can count her spirit guide, it's kind of funny. One thing she was saying is that somebody thought she was talking to herself, but she was talking to her spirit guides, and of course, and she's kind of admitted that certainly would look like you're talking to yourself. But I mean, I think.
And then she laughed, and I just think it is kind of funny when you're being she's just being who she is, and it's like but you still have to watch, like for me, especially with my family, it's like, but I still have to make sure to be careful because, my son or daughter or whatever, it's gonna, it's like, okay, you can come over and visit, but this would be funny too. This would be so freaking funny. You can come over and visit for Thanksgiving, but you can't bring the spirit guides with you.
Oh.
You have to leave the spirit guides behind. You have to leave your tarot cards, under the table or wherever. There's got to have been a card. I mean, it's just.
That's pretty funny.
To that already. I posted something on Facebook just now about pumpkins that were looking through a window at these weird shaped boards, and they were saying, okay, kids. They're trying to tell them, their kids, that, I just wanted to let you know that just don't forget, this is like, one time a year that we have to see them. And they're looking at the window, and they're all like different shapes and everything. And it's like, I just think that's really funny.
Gourds are fun.
Yes, gourds are really fun.
Knobby little gourds.
And it's fun to actually get molds, and as they grow, you can put them in faces, and you've seen people do that, right? They'll have like so it grows into a mold, so it has like somebody's face on it. Like you could grow a pumpkin that way, and it grows around this mold, so it has like a real face.
Wow, I love it.
So I mean, I don't know where you stand on I mean, I believe there are spirits, and of course, there's all kinds of proof of spirits. Even in the Bible, it talks about legion. All these spirits that were cast out into the pigs. So I
That's
mean,
what's really crazy about this legion that just went through the freaking front yard. Is like, so Tracy and I are outside, and these, what do you call them again?
Javelina was a lot of javelina.
Javelina, which are basically
A
wild pigs,
lot of javelina.
came marching through the front yard here.
They did. They're so cute.
Underneath
You've got
the
video.
tree.
Show me your
Yes, I
video.
do. It's like,
Where's
I'm
your
just like
video?
so wild pigs ran through,
through
Yes.
the front yard.
and you're still okay, right? There, no, just kidding, just kidding.
We're so
I'm
good.
just kidding.
We're so good. They didn't do anything. They didn't hurt us. We were in the car, so we never really encountered them. We were
Well, I mean,
watching them safely from
okay.
inside the car, to be honest.
That's actually I have 4 or 5 there. Well, the first one is from when they were right.
Oh
in
my
front.
gosh, there sure are a lot of these wild pigs right in the.
Legion. There's got to be a legion at least.
Oh my.
I think a legion is a lot more than that, but it's still
Well,
a lot.
remember the whole point in the Bible. There's this verse about this person named Legion, and they cast him into the pigs.
That out.
And so, and the point of it is
we had a legion run through before we started our time together.
well, I mean,
yeah, I keep forgetting that
So now-
happened to her. Like, oh my gosh, I've never seen them.
so also another thing that I look for in people is creativity, because the whole thing is that some people are creative and they bring new. I mean, think about like Elon Musk with the electric cars. He's doing something new.
Yeah.
And there are people who sort of destroy things. They're just out to break things apart. So I mean, Debra doing her landscaping and things, art, it's she's bringing beauty and creativity. So I love people who are creative. And it seems as though it's interesting. There's certain professions of people who do evil. Like think about your experience.
Look at this one. This is like right in the front yard.
Wow.
That's her and I are sitting in
Just to see the pigs, the javelinas
right
is pretty
came
fun.
running across in front of us and into the front there under the
Wow.
tree.
So
And then was sitting there watching them, and then after a little while, about 4 or 5 more came through. And that's why it took so long. I'm sorry.
no, that's
Because
okay.
then we turned around and followed them down the road, and they crossed the road, and
But we could have a lot of bacon on, if we. No, I'm just
it
kidding.
was like, wow.
That was a lot
oh
of
my God, are they going to stop here? I'm like, then all of a sudden I'm like nervous because I have no shoes on, and I'm thinking.
So okay, so like there's creative people, and I love creative people. People who bring new things and new energies and new whatever. And so of course I'm always drawn to people who are creative. And think about this, in the legal system, right? The legal system.
Yeah.
There is no creativity there. Like jails are exactly the way they were 100 years ago. Like they're so uncreative. Like an engineer, right? If you're behind schedule, they'd hire a new engineer. Maybe they may have a new department with a new office. And here, if they're behind in court cases, they can't say, "Oh, let's have traffic court in a strip mall, and move some other cases into the traffic court." There's no creativity. These are people who are dead in the inside and have no ability to create anything, and you can tell that because they have no creative problem solving skills. You can look at that by the system
Well, can
that
you
they
relate
can't.
it all to that?
Yeah, very much.
It's like,
That one's
I've heard you say
Very
that
relatable,
before.
so.
It's like, holy cow.
I mean, you would think if they're behind in cases, right? They would take traffic court, put it in the strip mall, move the cases to traffic court, hire a few more judges. You would think you could do that, but they
yeah.
but they can't. They have no creative energy, and so like the whole thing is that there are people who design things, like as an engineer, who do things because they really want to make something good for people. I mean, people feel like they want to. They love Apple products because they feel that, hey, somebody's looking out for me. They want to make something nice for me, whatever. Okay, and then you see that there are, and people relate to Apple because there's a creative force. There's somebody driving those inventions behind that. And then there are other things where, like, there's no creativity at all in that thing. Like it's dead. There's no, anyway. So I only affiliate with creative people and people in I mean, okay, another thing is, like, you would think that there would be some people who would relate to you and say, okay, I believe in what you're doing, and say, look, it's not about the money for me. I believe in this cause. You never see that with lawyers. It seems like engineers might do that. Engineers might just do something because they believe in it, but you never. It seems like you almost.
It's very
never see.
rare. I do think it happens, but I think it's rare.
Mm-hmm.
And because I've been in the court system for a long time, and I came across attorneys that said, "Oh, we do constitutional law or whatever," and so they do have their pro bono. They're supposed to choose a case or two or three. It's some percentage of their workload. It's a very small. It's 1 or 2 cases a year or X number of hours or something, where they don't get to bill, and it's done as a gift, to the community. So I have seen lawyers do that, and they're very picky and choosy about what and who they pro bono. I had lawyers tell me, to defend you is so unpopular. There's no way that I could defend you, and it's doubly so because it's not just that you're doing sex work and you're accused of prostitution, which anything that has to do with sex has this shame stain on it, where the lawyers don't want to even be seen defending it because it's considered so bad, so shameful, so shadowy, and so pitiful for the woman. And if she says she likes her work, then doubly sad. She's crazy too.
So the issue is that it can be the go-to thing for people being set up, because you can accuse them of a crime, and then there's no way to, and there's this stigma, and so it's an easy way to set people up. In fact, there's somebody, and it's like, okay, so, and how easy it is for women. This guy was saying how he was dating a woman who had a teenage daughter, and the teenage daughter would send pics of herself to her boyfriend. This girl, she lives at home with mom, and so the problem is this guy has, it's like he doesn't have to use the computer, but look, there's pictures but wait a second. They don't look into the fact that the girl herself was sending the pictures to her boyfriend. I mean, the poor guy gets and nobody wants to defend the guy. Oh, he's accused of this, and so
there's exactly. That's exactly right. No one wants to defend, even if it's just like something natural occurring. But there's a lot of villainization of men going on, and villainization of sex drive. And so, did you get to share what you wanted to share about your bit? So I one thing that I would say that I've learned in my journey is, like, when you speak of this woman, this poetess, this singer, and maybe others who want to put forth the sacred feminine, or want to put forth the God-goddess principle of Tantra. So instead of God the Father by himself, instead, some of us feel, no, Source is Mother, Father working it out together. And I think there's a lot of people who would be inclined to say, that seems true to me. That it's male and female, and not just male alone. But here's the interesting thing. It is about frequency. And the light, the part where we are eternal as light beings, we do associate the faster frequencies. The upper register chakras are associated with men. And women do rule. Ma matter material is chakra 1, 2, 3. And Pa pattern is 5, 6, and 7. And then in the middle is the heart. So there's 3 below that the mother and the female rules, mom, matter, mother. And there's 3 above the heart that are of the masculine. But anyway, something I'm working on that I think, so storytelling. Like, what I would say is, people have a longing in their heart or a feeling, and as soon as they bump into a story, a book, anything, a podcast, an interview, anything, a cartoon panel, anything, And it's like, oh, and it releases, like, to see what's in you happening in someone else's story, it releases this thing that was so heavy that you couldn't bear. It's like, oh, other people are going through it too. Like, you know, it's that not being alone, and then the fact that there's words for it. Like when someone has done something for decades, you know, like Debra, John, and I have language for the situation. Because this is what it's our special, any profession has specialty language. And being in this realm requires specialty language.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so something that I've been, really, so the 1,000 Golden Goddesses, I'll just quickly go on. So that lady has that app. She's had it for a couple years. If you've got a moon circle, a sisterhood circle, anything to do with the sacred feminine, and I've seen some divine masculine stuff on there too. And it's like a self-reporting melting pot, this marketplace or something, but if nobody's selling it, well, there are some people selling it, but you know, a gathering place for all these sacred feminine, tantra, etc. And like she would like, so she just did every year now for 2 years she's done this, and she does it every year because there's a prophecy that when 1,000 golden taras, 1,000 golden goddesses at the same moment have compassion for Earth, that Earth will shift. So this lady has taken it upon herself to every October 21st, she tries to get people to sign up on a map, and she just sent the report of what happened.
Kind of funny. I think Meg's
year.
birthday is right around that time.
October 21st. And
Something around
What was
that.
the report?
And because she got so first of all, every circle of people that participated in the act of compassion in the name of Tara, whatever, it showed a map of the earth, and so there were these little purple everywhere that people were doing it. But beyond, and it was like 300 and some locations, so she didn't achieve 1,000 locations if that was the goal, but she's building every year. But this year she got the Heart Math Institute involved, because the Heart Math Institute has been involved in that study where there's a whole bunch of Buddhist monks meditating, and the crime rate goes down in the city that they're in, that kind of thing. And so they were measuring the Earth's, the Heart Math Institute was measuring Earth's grid, Earth's energy to see if the 1,000 golden goddesses affected it in any way. And I haven't actually read the report yet. But so that lady, the Divine Feminine app lady and her 1,000 golden goddesses is like something where I'd love to help and empower. Like to me, that'd be like something like, I don't know if I need to reinvent the wheel on that particular thing, because she's doing it and she's doing a nice job. But what I was going to say is, and we talked about this outside, is that storytelling, when people are going through it and then they see someone else and like suddenly there's words for their experience, and then it just gets better like right away, because you're not alone. Even realize that one person has been through something like you've been through, like just, you know, it just lifts you up and makes you feel better, and
That's what we felt.
makes you
about
feel a
Meg,
path
she
forward.
was looking for her tribe or her people.
I think so. In fact, if you could play My Mirror, find out one of the lyrics, actually. If I'm using this for this purpose, you'll have to
My
play
Mirror on
My Mirror
on
on YouTube. But then look for one with lyrics so you can
So you can
read
see what
along.
it is.
You can read what she's saying, because it definitely seems like that's like she's reaching out to find her tribe.
Is that my phone?
Is this your phone? I don't know. Maybe is this?
Yes, it might be. I think I passed it over for you to see that.
Oh, yeah,
Region
the
of
pigs.
pigs.
The pigs. So if you,
One of the main problems with organized religion is that it has always kept women in a second-class position. They have been viewed as the daughters of Eve. That was spoken by Hugh Hefner. Women need a reason to have sex. Men just need a place.
oh, that's so
Billy,
sick.
Billy Crystal. Oh, I'm sorry. We are all born sexual creatures, thank God, but it's a pity so many people despise and crush this natural gift. Marilyn Monroe. I believe that sex is one of the most beautiful, natural, wholesome things that money can buy.
Who said that? That's awful.
Steve Martin. Oh, I think it's pretty funny. I'm sorry, I think it's funny. Here is my person.
Oh, I think if Steve Martin is saying it like a joke, I mean, if you,
it's a joke, and the
but-
reason why we laugh is because there's practically
There's some
nothing
truth
that a
behind
man
it,
can
even.
purchase that he would rather have than to feel received and safe and connected and natural for a time. There's practically nothing a man could spend his money on that would be.
Actually, though,
I mean, I'm
going to give you an
assuming his
interesting
children
example.
are taken care of and the roads don't have potholes.
Do you know?
But you know,
Do you know who? Do you know who Mystery is? Okay, here's an interesting thing. This guy. Okay, there was a and I'll remember the story here. Is Strauss, Neil Strauss, was initially, he was asked when he was working for a newspaper to write a series of articles about the pickup artist scene. These people in Los Angeles who they all knew each other and knew how to pick up women. Okay, and so he was originally to do this series of articles. He ended up writing a book. Now the thing is there were these group of people who were like the top in their game, and so the person who he thought was the best at this, he had this nickname of Mystery. There's another guy named Matador, and all these guys. And the thing is that what this guy does is the funny thing is he had a TV show about how to, you know, but it wasn't so much about using pickup lines. It was all about presenting yourself as somebody worthwhile to know. When you meet somebody, is this somebody that's going to make me appear more important or less important? Is this so? People always want to find people who will make them
uplift.
Right,
Yeah.
uplift. So really, even though you would have thought that it would have been about pickup lines and stuff, it was all about presenting yourself as somebody of value, which is
Yeah.
actually a good thing.
A
And
good
so
thing, yeah.
so even though he had this TV show for a couple of seasons, I think what he does now is he has, and he wrote a book now, but he goes around for super wealthy people, will pay him huge amounts of money to just learn how to present themselves to women. And so now, I'll tell you the funny story is I knew about the TV show. I'd seen a few episodes, and I was at a party, and this guy said, "Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. In fact, he wrote a book." "Oh really? Wrote a book?" Yeah, hear this book. So I get this book, and I didn't actually see the name of it. I'm holding this book at this party, and this woman says, "Oh, I see you have a book. Well, what book is it?" And then I had to look at the title and say, "Oh my God, how am I going to get out of this one?" The title, and I'm looking at this book, and it says, "The Mystery Method: How to Get Beautiful Women into Bed." And it's like, how am I not gonna look like a total, dick, having this book? And so I felt the only thing I could do, I looked the girl up and down, like really obviously, and said, "Well, I guess it'd be okay to share this with you." And then I showed the name of the book, but I didn't know how else to get out of that situation. But it was anyway. There's
She laughed.
Yes, it worked well. But the point being is that I didn't even know the name of the book. That wasn't my purpose. But the whole point is that is money well spent in actually bettering yourself. It isn't necessarily just about like, I mean, sure, you want to look as though you're somebody of value. That's great. But do things to make yourself of value. Why don't you learn some new hobbies? I mean,
Yes.
women like somebody who can cook. If you can cook and you're witty. I mean, I went to improv school, so I took a whole year of improv at Second City. So I graduated. So these things you can be a
It's
better
very cool.
storyteller. You can be a better storyteller. You're
Yeah.
a more interesting person if you can tell a good story.
Yeah.
And so you can do things to improve yourself. And part of it is actually, interestingly enough, improv was originally supposed to be for autistic people so they could learn situations. So the idea is how they say, think of a place. Oh, I'm at a job interview, and who am all? That's the prospective employer. That was setting up autistic people so they could practice situations, because autistic people don't have as many opportunities to be social. So it was more practice of social situations. But if you take people who don't have autism and they're somewhat witty to begin with, they can make it funny. And so it's interesting how also the big Whose Line Is It Anyway? They all got jobs on game shows. You know, you had Wayne was the black guy that was he's Let's Make a Deal, and we had the other guy who was The Price Is Right. So I mean, like being improv actually is helpful to
Oh, for sure.
for thinking quickly on your feet and stuff. And
Yeah, oh, if you can do that, you've really, yeah. It's beyond Toastmasters or anything, or giving a good speech. It's being really with the audience on your feet. Yeah.
and I mean these
in the
things
stream of it.
these things
the
can help you. And so I've actually, this is another weird. This is where I hate to go. Okay, so I hate to get into this because then it's I will get into this and I'll start this hard. Okay, so there is, I actually talked to this guy who's actually has got a degree in theater. Okay, his nickname is Danorama, and he actually has. He's one of the people who produces. He works with like the biggest producer of porn in the country, and the thing is that he helps with the scenes and stuff, and so he's very interesting because he knows so much about theater and like for example he had a whole class on middling, like okay, usually there's a top and a bottom, but like in a scene you could do it middle. People don't usually do this, but you could have don't let John know about this because he's the really he's really gonna give it to you and stuff, and it makes scenes more interesting. Well, anyway, the thing is we talked about the idea of having a class for these girls, because anybody can be one of these cam girls. You just pay money or whatever but there's no training for these people, and so they're I feel it's sort of dangerous for people to be out online, and you might have to be careful about telling where you live. People be stalking. You could do things like that, and so like I think there should be a class for people who want to do that, like one-on-one camming or whatever. There should be a class. And
It's
he
funny
actually
you bring that up because I have like people pestering me to do that right now, like a lot.
And so, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not condoning doing it in the first place, but the point of it is,
And I'm not
why not
saying
make
I
it
shouldn't.
safer?
I'm just like, I just don't know how to do it, because they can record it. There's a recording of me. Like I had no intention of having recordings of me with someone having an orgasm on the same recording, and yet like that's the coaching that guys really want. Like I can give them the coaching of I teach polarity from the Egyptian temples perspective, where one of the main ideas is to return the orgasm power back to your own energy field. And what's really interesting is, yes, it leads to greater perception and awareness of yourself as an energy being. That is one of the main goals, to where that you then, when you're with other people, you know how to align and blend and weave. Tantra just means to weave. But the reason I'm sharing this about this practice is that the men I know that they want to have an orgasm on camera, and I'm a grandma, and I don't, and it's like I guess I just have to have like a non-disclosure and an ironclad agreement that I'm going to sue them for everything they're worth if they published it. I don't know what to do.
So
but anyway, but the Egyptian Ouroboros orgasm, they do this in preparation for death. Isn't that it's interesting because when you get into the sacred sexuality stuff of the ancient different religious streams, when you get into it, a lot of it is about being immortal and preparing yourself for death. So the Ouroboros orgasm, there's a hieroglyph that is the snake with the mouth open, the body's in a perfect circle, tail's in the mouth. And so this is the Ouroboros, and the translation is self-regenerating power or self-regeneration. And that's what I teach men, is these Ouroboros orgasms with just simple hand placements causes the power of the orgasm to go back into their body.
I think though, I guess the thing is it would be for you to for you to train somebody and have them say the words, and so
Yes.
it wouldn't be you; it would be somebody else.
Yes, we talked about using AI. We talked about getting. I've got a beautiful Philippine woman. Did you ever meet Panda? Did you ever meet Panda?
I think I have. It sounds familiar.
Panda is from the Philippines, and she's like in her mid-30s now. She was in her mid-20s when she was at Temple. Her hair, I think, is to her knees or some crazy thing. She's got this curtain of hair that is unbelievable.
It's either amazingly long hair or she's incredibly short.
Both. She's kind of
Oh, okay.
petite, so it's a little of both,
Okay.
but her hair's really long. But here's what's going on. So I have to share this because I don't get a chance to speak with people that care about what I care about. Like hardly, it just doesn't come up very much. High five. High five to that. High five to that. Here we are. So, okay. So I'm doing polarity, which is basically I teach men and women, but with the men it really matters in that they are dealing with this outflow power of the wand. And so I've now taught this to thousands of men, and what I'm teaching them is how to become energy aware and learn these 6 types of orgasms. Like there's 6 orgasms that you're probably not having now.
Oh man.
That I give them the homework, and then they start doing one of these 6 types of orgasms each day of the week. They're going to do one of these orgasms that has a very specific purpose. So there's an orgasm for the body, there's an orgasm for the heart, there's an orgasm called divine mind, and if you put it with the ingasm or the microcosmic orbit, which is where you tighten your root right at the right moment, and the orgasm hits that wall of muscle and it goes in and up versus down and out. So I'm all about this because like guys need this for when I first started doing this in 2006, I was at Safeway and they had this poster with the breast cancer ribbon, the pink ribbon. One woman in 6 has breast cancer. At the other end of the counter where we were renting CDs, because it was that long ago, to watch. We would go pick up something and watch it and rent it. At the other end was the blue ribbon. And it said that 1 man in 6 will have prostate cancer. And that was in 2006. And then in the mid-teens, the latest data was 1 man in 3. And then the latest data is at age 72, 1 man in 1 is having a prostate issue, which could be anything from erectile dysfunction, which is super simple, but like they've lost the power of their root. But it can also mean enlarged prostate and prostate cancer and surgery, for crying out loud. So, but here was what was fascinating. There was 1% that didn't have any prostate issues at all.
Only 1%.
Only 1%. And they want to say, what is going on with this 1%? Is it genetic markers? Because these were guys of very different backgrounds, ethnicities, economic status, geographic location, like completely different. And the one thing that they all had in common was how many orgasms they were having in a month. And so there is a medical factual number that if you have this many orgasms or more in a 4-week period, you are statistically not going to have any of these issues.
All right. So you know, there's a
Would
reason
you like to-
for.
Yes.
So more
What,
is
what,
better?
I'm
Would
sorry.
you like
say
to
it
guess how many, Roger?
How many?
How many orgasms in 4 weeks do you think it takes to be in the clear with your prostate health and your erectile dysfunction? So you don't have to have it. You don't have to have, like you're clearly.
16.
Okay, it's a little more. Good guess though.
Okay. Let's see. 1 every day, is it?
It's 21. 21 in 28 days or more means that you will not have
No.
prostate issues.
I'm gonna mention this too. This is like, okay, so I'm not saying that I've always been perfect with this, but it's like, you know, the whole idea of just lusting after women and stuff, you know, and it seems like, you know, maybe I just have sex when I, you know, do it yourself tasks there. So, and I mean, and the thing is that, and I found that it was kind of like I was having like pain and stuff, and I went to a doctor about it, and they said, well, you know, and I thought that like blue balls was just a thing that guys said just to get women
No, that's
to do
a real
something.
thing.
And I didn't know it was a real thing.
Yeah,
And then
it's a
this
real
doctor said, no, you need to. And it's like, here, you try to do the like, you try to, well, not be lusting after people, and then it's like, oh my gosh, now I gotta do,
So in this Egyptian practice,
yeah.
you learn to play your instrument before you try to dance with someone else. And in the research, it didn't matter if the orgasm was with a partner or by yourself. Didn't matter. There's a housekeeping orgasm, which is letting the energy flow through and letting the fluids leave. Because new energy's coming and new fluids are being made always. So you've got to your housekeeping is what you're doing.
It's karma cleanse.
Yeah, it's a cleanse, and so.
So you could just have housekeeping classes.
It is so I'm passionate about this.
Important
but
it is, yes.
Here's where it gets just like beyond like okay, like this is really important. So, and this is the part where I could show you what I'm talking about. Just like we could do it even with clothing on. But here's the deal. So as I'm talking to the men and I'm teaching them these 6 types of orgasms they're not having now, and so we start with one of your hands on everybody. This is true. One hand is outflow and the other hand is inflow. And it's like when you jump start a car, you've got a red wire and a black wire. And if you had 2 red wires, you'd have like sparks and heat and light, and it might even explode or start a fire, because it's a red wire, and a red wire would be a lot of heat, but the car would not start. To successfully jumpstart the car, you need a hot wire or a red one and a black one that is a magnetic grounding.
So you use one, but there's only one.
All this Egyptian stuff is about polarity, and also I want to say, by the way, same thing when you jumpstart the car, when a person has slipped out of their body and they want you back in your body and you're on the surgery table. What do? A hot wire, a plus paddle goes here, and a magnetic negative paddle goes here, and they run a charge plus minus through your heart, and your soul slips back in. So the reason I'm saying all this, is men can learn to have this. So the part that's so distressing that we could like put out the call for men to do something good with their wand of light. So here's what's happening. Men, when I give them the assignment to cultivate their flow, nobody in Tantra masturbates, we cultivate. We cultivate our flow. So when I give guys this homework and they're cultivating, what we're finding out though is that we get to the part where they're saying, oh yeah, but all of my masturbation until I started working with you was outflow hand on the wand. So 90% of the men, Gaia and Gaia, 90% of the men, over 90% of the men are doing their cultivation, their masturbation, which we now call cultivation, with their right hand. They're doing plus plus. Why does that matter? It matters a lot. Why? Because first of all, that's the trying to jumpstart the car with 2 red wires. It will not happen. But here's the other part. Oh, we as women, our bodies are minus. You as a male, a straight male, and also a bisexual man, it would also be true. You are outflow. You are plus. You are more plus than you are minus. We are more minus than we are plus. So
Conventional flow, of course. As it turns out, they've been wrong about the way that electrons flow. So, but I know your point.
Yeah. Well, the polarity. This is where it's interesting because this is polarity you can actually feel. You want to feel it right now?
Okay, sure.
You want to feel it right now? I want you to feel it right now. So here's what my distress is, though. With 90% of the men daily cultivating to porn, which has no heart chakra inherently in it, but what makes it even worse, guys, is they're using their outflow hand on their wand, which creates this kind of fighting type energy. It's not peaceful. It sets you up as a male to feel that there's another guy out to get your stuff. Like there's a feeling of rub, like too many straight men crowded into an elevator and none of them want to stand next to each other. It's that feeling when you put the plus plus on the wand. But so all over this world every day, the men are plus plussing it. And why this is bad is because the woman is not part of that circuit. So here's where it gets more fun. As soon as you put your minus hand on your wand of light, because you have a plus here, as soon as you put your minus hand, now your outflow hand is free to what? Make the circuit. Make the circuit and capture the orgasm.
It's
life changing, I'm telling you.
I mean, I, for whatever reason, I've already sort of known that, and the thing is part of it is that it seems as though, if you were to, I mean, like, you, like, it seems more like someone else's. It almost seems more like, I mean, I wouldn't want to do it to myself, so using my right hand, but my left hand is a little more like somebody else's. It just feels that like it's more like somebody else is doing it rather than me doing it myself with the left.
And you are
even though I'm right-handed.
So if we were in ceremony, I'd say gold star, Roger. Some guys already feel the subtle difference. Not very many, maybe 20%, maybe one guy.
Well, another thing is this is
feels
another thing.
The subtle body already when before we start there.
I mean, I also have learned to know this only because it also seems even with pleasuring a woman. Now it started for very good reason actually, though. I also used the left hand in that case as well, and it started off with a very good reason. Okay, so if you look at my right hand, you can see that these two fingers are about the same length, and of course this is a little bit taller as they normally are. Sometimes this one's bigger, sometimes that one's bigger. Right. Okay, now this is the freakish part. I mean, these two fingers are way longer than these. So having two extra long fingers on my left hand, I found that it can be. Women seem to like that extra reach for that extra spot. And so sure. I can actually reach it with my hands, and a lot of people can't actually reach it with their hands. And so that's been very much appreciated by people. So that's partially why.
So when you learn polarity, it's not that there's only one right way of doing it. The idea is to have a complete toolkit, a complete array from A to Z or whatever of energies. So for example, for me, I cannot bring myself to orgasm with my left hand. No, I can with my right. With my left hand, this is a minus, this is a minus. I can get friction, I can get heat. I cannot get, this hand is the one that where the energy flows in, makes me feel warm, makes me start to feel, and so what I would say is, and so this is the thing, is like, this is speculation unless you want to feel it?
Oh, okay, sure.
Okay, let's go.
I'm an adventurous person.
You're an adventurous, that's very good. Let's do this. So yeah, and you can feel it more when you're naked with oil, of course.
Note to self, wish you had oil on you during the trip to Sedona.
So let's, you have to stand up.
Okay.
So.
No, of course, okay.
So, are you,
energy right there.
You're right-handed?
Okay, yes.
Okay, me too. So this is your outflow, this is your inflow. This one is sending, this one is receiving, and everything that we're about to do, you just have to pay attention. This is the plus, this is the minus.
Will it be awkward if the other guests stay here? Come on.
No, we're not gonna do anything super awkward. No. So, right here, if you know about the chakras, this is the energy center 1 right here. Okay. Energy center 2, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6. And the 7th one floats above the head. But there's 6 in the body. They're just like snowman buttons right down the center. And they're vortices, where the energy is either coming in, and then there's other places where the energy is going out. You've got 6 big ones here in the core of the body and the head, and 3 are flowing out, and 3 are flowing in. And since you're a guy, it's obvious, I'm sure, is this one an in or an out?
I feel it's an out.
bouncing out. Yes. And so it's just super simple. Every other one is in, out, and mine are opposite of yours. Females are opposite of male. So your outflow in the odd chakras, chakra 1, chakra 3, and chakra 5, your electrical outflows. In the partner chakras, the evens, where your partner would show up, because if you're the odds, 1, 3, and 5, then your partner's showing up in 2, 4, and 6. But so chakra 2 is the belly, chakra 4 is the heart, and chakra 6 is here in the third eye. So what we're going to do, and you don't have to re-roll that, we are going to feel it. That's why I'm telling you that they exist and kind of more or less where they are. So right here is the first vortex, the first energy center. It's called the root, and it's the red ray, and it's chakra 1. And you can remember that it's chakra 1 because when you have an erection, that is the number 1. Mm-hmm. Like you look down and literally see the number 1. Mm-hmm. And so it goes here 1 all the way up. Chakra 7 is the crown that floats above. We don't count 1 down. It's 1 at the root up. So 7 is above the head, and this is 1. Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyway, right here at the base of your spine, this vortex, they have proven that 70% of the life force is going into the body right there at the base of your spine and your coccyx. Mm-hmm. So this vortex takes in a massive amount of life force, whether you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. If you were a major appliance like a dryer, this is where the big gray cord would be.
And it always is.
Yeah. So now you're going to take the center of your palm or the tip of your fire finger. This is your hand that sends. And we're going to do this. This is the temple hug or the full chakra embrace. If you go to a tantra sex party or convention or a puja, this is the secret handshake. So it's not a handshake though, it's a hug. Like if you know how to do this hug, they think that you're one of us. If you know the hug. So I'm about to teach you the hug. Okay. So you're going to take the outflow hand and you're going to go right to my coccyx, to my tailbone. Perfect. Maybe just a little lower. There we go. There we go. Don't be shy. Okay. And then that one is the back of my heart. And a little bit lower. Perfect. Oh, that's very good. Do the job. And I'm going to do mine like this. Okay. So in this one, Roger, the pluses and minuses are happy. The pluses are touching minuses, the minuses are touching pluses. And so the energy can easily go back and forth, back and forth. It can weave, which Tantra just means loom tool for weaving. And so when we're like this, the energies naturally can just flow back and forth. Now for kicks, for fun, just for fun. When you're first learning about the subtle body and polarity, one of the easiest ways to really feel it is to cross the wires. So we're going to do the exact same hug, but we're going to switch it. Other hand up, other hand down, and the same hug. And what we've done here is we've made it minus, 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 plus, plus. Back of my heart and your right hand is plus, plus. So, does this feel different to you, like the energy part?
Because it does.
Yeah.
I think the other one felt more natural, I think.
Yeah. So that we'll hold this just for a second longer and then we'll put it back. You never really want to leave it crossed. For me, it's the receiving one, because women feel more. We all feel different. Oh, there's 3 and 3s. Okay, so let's put it back. And notice that if we are the hugging, if you do left cheek to left cheek, you're going to be in each other's heart field. Can you feel how the energy is swelling between us? It got really warm and happy again. Peaceful and connected. Yeah.
Now that would be a good quiz just beforehand to see if it was legit. Do people feel more comfortable that in one way or the other? Because and I did. So, but of course you told me I should, but I felt that way anyway.
Oh, you mean make it more open-ended? It'd be lovely to get another person's help designing my course, but now may I lightly connect with your root? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next part of this is you've got these 6 energy centers. I want to ask you, and you probably have a zipper, but you do. Zippers mess with the root chakra energy. I highly recommend.
Buttons are better?
Yeah, or just nothing here.
Oh,
Let
wow.
this, do not put, look, it's an energy wheel, it's spinning, it's scientifically there, and ancient tradition, it's there. And when you put a zipper, an electrical wheel, a wheel of light and power, bioelectricity, and now you put a zipper, a metal zipper in the middle of an electrical spin.
I see.
You can see how that would
And
not
I feel that
good
when
for
I'm
your
lying
roots.
around the house that I don't like to wear pants because it's just more comfortable.
Yeah, you need yoga pants with
Oh.
nothing here.
Oh, okay.
Just a light waistband, but nothing at the...
Interesting,
no
because there was a
zipper.
guy on Shark Tank who was trying to sell yoga pants for men that had like a cup. And it's like, well, because it's not out there for men.
No, that was it.
That's wild.
And
I
then
love
and
it.
then and then people are saying, well, they just wear
Yes.
shorts over it, but and this guy said, well, this sort of covers up so it doesn't stick out, and it also is like protective
Kind
too.
of sounds like a good invention.
Well,
actually.
the guys didn't invest in it because they thought, well, you could just wear shorts over it. But I mean, anyway,
He didn't care. He seemed to just have a really good stuff. And
So here's a question that I have for you then.
sure.
And I'm not opposed to touching, but what I want to do is, if we have other connections, it triangulates the energy.
Okay.
I would like you to just focus just on this one point of contact.
Mhm.
And here we have, you obviously are outflow plus, but I'm going to give you one, and here's the other. And so one is going to be a plus plus, and the other one's going to be a plus minus. And for most guys, they're having plus plus orgasms.
Mhm.
And so that's the first orgasm that I teach them, is to have some plus minus orgasms,
Mhm.
because that's the same as when you're in a woman.
Mhm.
The plus minus. So this is your plus plus.
Mhm.
This is your plus minus. This is the one that
Mhm.
that is going to replicate the frequency of a female.
Mhm.
This is the one that 90% of the men are having. Almost all the guys are having plus plus orgasms.
And they're not as good.
And why do I think this is a problem? I'll tell you why. Because the men are not, the plus plus orgasm is hot, and you feel like there's somebody in the room trying to get you. Like when the men do this and this, and I'm in chambers and we do this and this, when they have their plus plus, I feel like I want to leave the room. I feel like two guys are about to break out into a brawl. That's the energy of plus plus. It's really guy. If all the men are having plus plus orgasms, what the fuck is going on with the human frequency on planet Earth? If guys are doing plus plus angry versus plus minus, which is being received and grounded and like a woman, like you're being received as if a woman.
It's funny. I was looking at this
receiving
frequencies
you.
thing, okay, because one of the questions,
Yeah.
first of all, it started is okay. So a Harley Davidson motorcycle is it's a patented the frequency of the rumble. So I was
yes, the sound.
I
is very
looked
sexy.
I looked into this because I was curious. Okay, like the Hitachi vibrator, is it? And sure enough, the frequencies of the Harley Davidson motorcycle when it's rumbling at low RPMs and high RPMs, it's like the Hitachi vibrator is right in the middle of those frequencies, and I think that they purposely designed the Harley Davidson so when women sit on it, that it feels like there's a vibrator, and it seems as though, from my scientific evidence, that it is exactly like the RPMs of a Harley Davidson, a little bit below and a little bit, so it goes through the middle frequency is perfectly right on Hitachi vibrator frequency. And the other thing, when I was doing this research, I was also curious. I was looking in medical journals and found this article about a frequency that actually causes a man to ejaculate without his even wanting to. It'll just force him to. And then what was interesting is actually putting this, there were all these like people with spinal cord injuries who were quoting and were able to look into this, my data on this and where I looked it up and so it's weird how all these, well,
They were able
weird,
to have orgasms after they tried the frequency.
it's interesting that these people with spinal cord injuries are because I looked up research when I first just look that up, and so I'm an engineer, so
Yeah,
the thing
nice.
is that so there are people with spine. They're I mean I'm guessing that they're trying to use like a vibrator at that frequency to try to
get
Yeah.
off because they have a spinal cord injury. And the other weird one, as far as frequency, is I was fascinated by having gone through as much trauma as I've gone through. That there's a woman named Elise Graves. That's her stage name. We won't tell us her real name, but I mean, you can look it up and find out. But anyway, her thing is she allowed herself to be tortured beyond what somebody would normally allow. So even it was in Rolling Stone magazine, had an article about her because the Geneva Convention doesn't allow people to be like waterboarded and things like this. And so, first of all, my initial question reaching out to her is, do your fans love you or hate you? Because if you're being tortured, I mean, I never understood that. But one of the things that it seems to be the number Twitter one is that people didn't realize that she was actually using a concrete vibrator. I mean, she'll do a lot of
jackhammer.
things. Well, I guess so. It could be the same thing, but it's somehow, maybe it isn't actually. It was for breaking up concrete, but it wasn't actually jackhammer. I don't know how it's different, but I mean,
Yeah.
But
Wow.
anyway, so I get sometimes quoted for
Wow.
that because, but I did, of course, thinking
Wow.
about people who in some ways, I mean, I feel that she's sort of unfortunately making it so that women can be thought of as people to be tortured. So I disagree with that. I mean, I was just mostly interested in why, like,
And neither should men be, but yes, I agree.
So,
Yeah.
even though I'm not a fan of her work at all, I mean, I guess I've been, and one of the things I've been curious about that, it seems like nobody wanted to, and actually what I think it is I think, even though since it's not logical that everybody want to be tortured, I think it's because when she feels the pain, when the pain is going away, the feeling of pain disappearing is actually the thing, that the attraction, because it does seem like she actually seemed to like pain, but if you actually watch her, it seems like she really enjoys the pain going away.
Yes.
And so the question is it worth it to have pain just for the feeling of going away? And I guess it can be for some people.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That sounds true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it sounds true.
And I mean, it sounds like it's not that most. She sort of fascinates me, but not, and oddly enough, not like almost like not anybody else. But in that world.
So it is true, and oftentimes in that world where people feel alive, at least when you have pain, you at least like know you're alive.
Oh, and maybe the fact is that you can control that pain. Maybe you have other pain that you can't control. So this pain you can control. Mm-hmm. Maybe could that be? Do you think that could be? You can control the pain and how it goes away? Is that? Do you think the appeal? Or are you looking her up now? Or
no, I was gonna see about because I said I was gonna go home around 11,
sure.
So they wouldn't worry, and I'm just gonna text and say I'm saying later.
Oh,
because they worry. I'm not used to that. I'm so not used to that. It's okay. I'm good. Yeah.
Bit, isn't it? I still want to show you the.
Yeah, I'd love to see the thingy.
The
this is our. I didn't get to finish. I was going to read one more quote because I thought this one was very good. And this is from Roseanne Barr. So we said the thing that you said was kind of heinous. I believe that sex is one of the most beautiful, natural, wholesome things that money can buy. And the reason I laugh and think it's true is because there are many, many, many men and maybe a few women who will never have sex unless they can purchase it because they don't have game to get it. Right? Am I wrong?
Totally right.
There's people who won't, they'll never conjure it as their natural experience, like without, I'm just saying, I've met so many of these people, they just won't.
Talking about you, though.
No, we're not talking about you, that would go to their grave never having had sex if it weren't for professional women. But anyway, and professional men do.
So maybe the trick is to teach those people to be more respectful to women, and maybe that would be
Yes, and that's the whole part of the whole tantric goddess Daka Dakini thing. Here's the wonderful quote from Roseanne Barr. Then in response to the Steve Martin quote about buying, here's my personal opinion about prostitution. If men knew how to do it, they wouldn't have to pay for it. Oh, snap.
Well, that is definitely true. That's definitely true,
Snap.
and it's. I mean, I think it would be difficult because it would be difficult to be excited to think that this girl doesn't really want to deal with this. I mean, to me it would be difficult, and so it would never work. And and that's the.
Have you been around people who really do get off on pain though? There is like another category
Um,
where they actually do get orgasmic from the actual pain, not the moment when it goes away, but the actual thing that's happening.
well, I mean,
Makes them-
I guess. I mean, the thing is, I guess not really. I'm saying
There's
in the
not very
cases,
many people like that, but there's.
This is a B&B, so let's. It's
Okay.
Oh, we are being loud.
So
now.
let's go. Let's get our coat on and get back on. Let's go.
We can go upstairs, I
and
guess.
show,
We can try.
show her this.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
The
Yes.
sky bar. Box.
Or put up there. No, we're not even allowed